doing a lot wrong. I wasn't in focus. I wasn't collimated. There was a long list of things that were wrong. Ryan reached out and said,
Ryan here with Dark Rangers Inc., and I am super excited to kick off a brand new mini-series with you guys unlike anything you've seen on YouTube Astrophotography. We wanted to challenge the channel and take somebody totally new to astrophotography and put them through a 1-week boot camp to dispel the myth that it takes months or even years to get good at this hobby. Now, I ran into somebody on Facebook. His name is Dan, and up until 2 weeks ago, the only imaging he's been doing on anything in his life is on the back of one of these. And the worst part is he lives in New York City in a Bortle 9 light pollution zone. So the odds were stacked up against him, and on top of that, he went to his local telescope shop and they did not get him the most ideal gear. So he and I jumped on a call together. We ordered the right stuff. The night it came, we did some imaging, and then last night we processed it. And so we're going to take you along the journey to take Dan from a total newbie in astrophotography to somebody that's producing great images on a regular basis and enjoying this awesome hobby. So stay tuned. Dan, do you want to introduce yourself and give a little background?
Yep, I'm Dan. I fell in love with space the first time that I saw the bubble picture of the pillars of creation. Never did anything with it. Now I'm a grown adult with a kid, and I just decided a week ago I need a new hobby, so I decided to dive right into it.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and go through WBPP today to have him stack the data.
And while you're going through that, I can give a brief recap of how I ended up here. So after I decided to get into this hobby, I made a post on Facebook basically saying I'm new, asking for guidance. I got 500 different answers that did nothing but confuse me more and led me to looking for a local telescope store. I went to the store. I told them what I wanted to do. I kind of said that I wanted to be able to do visual and I wanted to be able to see planets and I wanted to be able to do DSO because I was ignorant and didn't know that those all require different things. My telescope store set me up with Celestron SCT 9.25.
For a brand new person.
2000
millimeters, you know.
Great. Mind you, that was not collimated with no reducer and an ASI 482 MC planetary camera, and told me to stick it on the diagonal and shove the diagonal in the end of my scope and take pictures.
Wow.
I spent 3 nights of between 3 and 4 hours at a time, not even being able to get a star on the ASIAIR that they told me to get, because if I got that, it was going to make everything really easy. After multiple posts on Facebook and begging people for help or just advice, what am I doing wrong? And I mean, I was doing a lot wrong. I wasn't in focus. I wasn't collimated. There was a long list of things that were wrong. Ryan reached out and said, hey, maybe I can help you. Maybe I can point you in the right direction. We started chatting. We got on a quick call, spent about an hour. He walked me through the fact that I was making it harder for myself by trying to learn this hobby at 2300 plus focal length. At that point in time, he recommended the scope. I ordered a smaller version of the same scope that he has that I was able to get an awesome deal on open box. I ordered a ASI 533 MC Pro cooled camera. Yeah. And I actually was able to use the planetary camera that I thought was a huge waste of money now as my guide scope. So he was even able to help me not regret all of my purchases. And my first night out, after I got that set up, we're going to go through the results of now. I was able to capture 37 light frames of 180 seconds each. I'm pretty sure 90+% of them are pretty good. And mind you, I'm shooting all of this from a Bortle 8 backyard in New York with floodlights coming in from my neighbors. So I kind of am making this as difficult as it could possibly be.
Dan's shooting from New York City in a Bortle 8.9 in his backyard. So about as tough as it can get. We're really putting the Antlia Triband to the test. It is 25 nanometers, so definitely not a narrow band filter, but much more narrow than your average light pollution filter. And yeah, we are going to keep the SCT because down the road we can do, you know, obviously planetary, lunar, other things with that. But when I asked him what his main goal was, he really liked the nebula, as he said earlier on, like with the pillars of creation and stuff like that. So we are going to go with a wider field setup. And the 533, this is basically the same setup in my budget video that I'll link in the description. But instead of the budget mount option, we went with the AM5, which is a little bit nicer because Dan had a little bit more budget available. So, but otherwise, it's very similar to that setup. So if you're looking for that, go ahead and check out that video as well. Okay, so we're going to hop into PixInsight and then go to Script, WBPP, Weighted Batch Preprocess. Yep, Batch Processing, WBPP. And then we already did organize the files into lights, darks, bias. Go to the lights. Yep. Okay, so we'll go into lights and then the lights with the green plus down at the bottom. Yep, we have them all saved.
To the file.
Lights. And then we're gonna highlight all those with a shift click. Okay. You did flats, right?
I did do flats.
Okay, so we'll go there. And then since you're brand new, I described what they were, but then you literally went and did them. What was your method for doing flats for those people that are new watching?
For flats, I used ASIAIR, and I literally just took my scope. I pointed it directly vertical. I put a white t-shirt over it. I made sure there was no wrinkles in the shirt across the actual face of the front of the scope.
Yeah.
I had my iPad pull up a plain white screen. I just Googled it and found some website. I placed the iPad on top of it, and I just ran an auto run through the ASIAIR. Took maybe 2 minutes.
I want to see that more in detail. I do have an ASI complete tutorial, and it'll talk about the auto run feature in flats, so check that out as well. All right, so
I can explain the same thing while I go to darks as well, if you would like.
Okay, so you loaded the flats in already? I had it on just you. Okay, cool. And then with darks, I think darks are a little bit easier. Most people know. Just make sure they're the same length and the same temperature if you do have a cooled camera. And then obviously you want to make sure that the lens cap is on. And sometimes you can get light leaks, so you might even want to cover the whole setup. Like if you have a scope cover, or even just throw like a jacket or a hoodie over the top if you are getting any light leaks. But you essentially just want a flat, dark image.
I actually put the scope cover over it. I had it in a dark room, and I threw a blanket over it. Maybe I'm a little superstitious.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure I was doing it right.
Yeah, well, 3 minutes is a long time to capture light. So if there is
my concern.
If there is any amount of light that's getting into the system, it'll show up on 3 minutes. So click on the lights tab again, and then we'll just make sure that it's set under the image integration. We want down towards the bottom. Yep, there we go. And then, yeah, the Winsorized clip Sigma clipping. Okay, we set that up already. And then go to calibration up at the top left in the WBPP. Yep, there it is. And then click on the 38 frames below. Okay, and then, so real quick, since we're not doing bias because this camera doesn't necessarily require it, we're not going to click that. If you do have bias frames, you would click there, and then click on flats as well, the flat frames.
And then basically do the same
thing.
Yeah,
you do the same there, yeah. And then go to post calibration. And then do drizzle configurations, enable. And then we'll just leave it at stock settings for now.
What does drizzle do?
So drizzle, yeah.
Aside from a cool word.
Yeah, drizzle, for drizzle. It smooths out the pixelation in the stars. I've heard through the grapevine that even NASA uses this tool. So it essentially takes, if you zoom in on stars, you'll see the little square pixelation. The drizzle will smooth that out and just give you a better looking star overall. So it'll give you a little bit nicer image. And now we only have about an hour and a half of data from a Bortle 8.9, so we'll keep that in mind. We have a little under 2 hours. And then that's basically it. So we're gonna leave the settings pretty much stock, other than the Winsorized clipping. We put the low and high to 4 and 2. And that's just if he has any satellites going through, airplanes, things like that, it's going to get rid of that. But everything else we'll leave pretty much stock right now. The output directory, where do you have it saved to? Down at the bottom right?
Oh. I'm going to have to change that. Where do we want this to go? We want it to go. We'll put it here.
Output directory is just where you want the stacked file to go. And if you're using a solid state drive, like I recommend, you can choose that and then it won't even hit your hard drive. It'll do all the stacking on the solid state drive, and that'll preserve your computer hard drive so that you don't bog it down. Dan has like a supercomputer over there, and so he's got plenty of room for this first image. But then you do have an SSD as well, right?
I have a bunch of SSDs. I have like what's the word for it? Storage.
A gaming addiction?
Yeah, that works too. But I'm always nervous I'm going to run out of storage, so I always make sure that I have way more than I could ever need. Storage anxiety. That's the word I was looking for. Like electronic car drivers, they get range anxiety. I have storage anxiety.
So we'll go
is
run.
there anything else that I need to check?
No, we've got darks, and you did 12. Next time we'll do a little bit more, but again, this first image.
It's the impatient New Yorker.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's right. And then, which is why he wants to make sure that we do it right the first time, because the expectations are high, but we'll see if we can pull through. So on the bottom right, click the run button. We've got the out, and then hit continue. What are we saying? And then down at the bottom, guys, just so you're saying, it says requiring working space of 10 gigabytes. So if you do get a warning there, that means you don't have enough storage space. This stack is going to require 10 gigabytes of space in order to work. Now, that doesn't mean the final image is going to be that, but that's how much space we need. So then go ahead and click continue. And then that's going to go ahead and stack, and then we'll come back here as soon as it's done, and we'll do just a quick, light first-time processing tutorial. So if you are new to PixInsight, we're not going to go crazy deep. We'll do a second video down the road, but just to get it from a stacked image into something that you could, share with friends, family, or even post online. All right, so we're back. The stack is complete. So go ahead and go to File, Open. And then let's go to where you saved it to. Okay, stacked, PI, master. And then we just want the master light exposure. Go to the process STF. So you're going to go to the process, all process, STF. And what this, guys, is it's just a screen transfer function. And this will just do an auto set. Yeah, hit that. And then hit the little nuclear, it looks like yeah, there it is. And this is going to put an auto stretch. Now, the blue might look a little crazy. That's basically just light pollution and the filter. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that. Now, normally you'd auto crop first, but I like to do a quick background extraction and get rid of that blue so we can see what it is that we're cropping. So go ahead and go to process, all process, and then automatic background extractor. It's got the little yellow icon. Yep. And then just drag at the bottom, the triangle. There's a triangle and a square on everything. When you drag the triangle over, it executes it, or you can just hit the square and it'll execute it to the open window. Okay, go ahead and hit the nuclear button again, and this will show us what it is getting rid of. So that blue, so go ahead and close that out. Now to actually have it, to actually have it fix your image, you got to click on the target image correction, the little double down arrow. Yep, right there. And then under correction, instead of none, do subtraction. Subtraction, and then replace target image, check that box. Boom. Okay, now do the same thing. And this time it'll actually do the correction to the image. Okay, and then hit the nuclear button again. Close that out. We know what that looks like already because we already saw that. Click on that. Nuclear button. Boom. And now we have a much more reason.
Now we're looking good.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. What do you think? Is that as cool as what you were thinking?
This is already where I would have expected to be. I didn't expect to be generating a picture like this for at least a month or two. let alone after, I guess you could say this is the second night, only because I didn't stay up later to do this after I took the pictures.
Yeah, that's really good
But
data.
This is crazy that I took this from my backyard.
So go ahead and expand the window a little bit, and then we'll, just so we can see it. Now we're on Discord, so we're at 720p. So just I'm screen recording in 4K, but we're only as good as the lowest count. Yeah, there we go. Scroll in. Yeah. So I mean, if you scroll down so we can see kind of the detail, like that's pretty solid, guys. I mean, we're talking under 2 hours in a Bortle 8.9. We're in New York City. It's about as bad as it can possibly get. So let's go to the process and then dynamic crop. That's really cool, man. That's exciting. I'm glad it turned out.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, I was a little worried with the light pollution. I'm not in like Bortle.
Me too. When I made my first post saying, "Hey, I live in New York City," I was expecting everyone to say, "Don't even bother trying. You're never going to be able to do this."
No, that's awesome.
A week, 2 weeks later, a week and a half later, I'm looking at a picture like this.
So go ahead and hit dynamic crop at the bottom of that first column.
Dynamic crop. That's what you said. Sorry, I forgot what you said.
And so what I like to do is just select the whole picture, and then we'll just bump it in a little bit. And the reason...
Triangle it?
No, just, select it. So we're going to select it like that. Yep, just drag it across. And then if you hold it on the edge of where it turns into a square, you can actually now drag that and pull it into the center just a little bit. Yeah, just a few pixels. And just do that all the way around. And what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of stacking artifacts. So throughout the night, as you're taking images, we did have dither turned on. And so what dither does is it moves the image around a little bit to prevent a certain noise pattern from forming called walking noise. And so we want to crop in a little bit just so we get all the best data. And so go ahead and either hit the check mark or drag the triangle. I would just hit the check. Yes, it is. It's just giving a warning that these could be irreversible. Hit yes. They're not irreversible. You can go to image and undo it.
Right. Or I can always go back to the original file I uploaded.
Right. So there's always options. And then we have all the RC Astro scripts installed. If you do want to see how to do that, go see my script masterclass where I talk about the screen stars and star reduction. That will show you how to install these. But go ahead and go to script noise exterminator, process. Oh. Yeah, process, all process, noise exterminator. And they are in alphabetical. Drop it down to like 75.75. 95 just can be a little harsh. We probably need it, but I don't want to like totally crush the data. And then same thing, either triangle, drag, or hit the square.
Leave detail the same?
Yeah, we'll leave that there. Okay, and then if you zoom in as it's doing it, scroll up. So what we'll do is a quick before and after, just so you guys can see. This is really good. I've actually was using Topaz denoise for a long time, so go ahead and scroll in. Yep. Now go up and I will show the undo. So go to, it's either an image or edit, I forget. Go to image and then undo noise exterminator. And then boom, you can see all that noise. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy how much it actually does.
Yeah.
It's almost like you don't notice it do that much unless you zoom in like this.
Right. Yeah. And that's the nice thing. It's subtle. It doesn't get that like, I don't know, almost like it's smeared paint look that the old style did. This used to be a very manual process. You came in at the perfect time. If we were doing this video a year ago, this would all take significantly longer. So next we'll go to process and then let's run blur exterminator.
ABC order, blur exterminator. Okay.
And then
do I need to change any of these?
No, I think we're good. We'll leave stock settings on that one. There's not a ton of data. So if you guys don't have a ton of data, don't expect blur exterminator to do a lot in terms of the non-stellar sharpening. Oh, you got to close out the dynamic crop because it's another dynamic process. Yeah, go ahead and just close that out. So this is going to reduce the stars and sharpen the nebula. So since there's only about just under 2 hours of data, we're not going to see a ton. There's not enough data to really see a big impact on the nebula, but we will see the stars shrunk quite a bit, and that will then expose the nebula and make it look better. So either way, it's going to improve the image.
So the more data I give this, the more powerful all of these tools are going to be.
Yeah, so little personal
Is that, like,
story.
the general gist of this?
Well, I had 5 hours of data from not as bad of a Bortle class, and I did it, and I sent an email to Russell Croman, and I was like, "Hey, this isn't working," and he's like, "You just need more data." And then when I switched to mono, and I had an image, with 7 or 8 hours of monochrome data, then you really see it make a pretty big difference.
Got it.
So yes, the more data you have, whether it is color or monochrome data, the more you'll see a difference from Blur Exterminator in terms of the sharpening. So there we can see the big, if you do the same thing,
difference.
yeah, undo, image undo, see the stars
Like, that's night and day.
yeah, with the stars.
Wow.
So it just lets the nebula pop quite a bit more.
Can I close these?
Yeah, go ahead and close all those out. We're not going to reuse them. The only thing, just reopen the screen transfer function because we're going to need to turn it off when we go to... Okay, so what we'll do now, and we'll do a color calibration. Now, he doesn't have spectrophotometric color calibration. God, it's a mouthful. Again, this is more of a beginner tutorial, and so we're just going to do kind of a basic color calibration. And so go ahead and go to Process, Color Calibration. Yep.
Got it.
And then...
ABC order makes this a lot easier.
It does. For the white image, what we need to do is zoom in on that star, the biggest star in there. Just go ahead and zoom in, either the center one or either one. Yeah. We're going to zoom in. So just scroll your mouse up, other way. Yep. Okay. And then the little, it looks like a piece of paper under the word workspace at the top. So at the very top next to, at the top of the screen overall, up by where you go to process. So you see the little, that. Click that. And then just drag around the whitest part of the star. So make a box around it. Yeah.
Like right in the middle?
No, you can take a little bit more than that. Kind of get the whole star, I guess we'll say. Yeah. And then let's expand it a little bit. So the same way you do with auto crop, if you kind of hover over the edge. Oh. Yep. Yeah, there you go. Yep, a little bit more there. And then up. Okay. And then let's zoom out. And then find an area that's dark without stars. So probably just down and to the right a little bit. In that dark area without a lot of stars. Yep. And now click on that piece. Yeah, scroll in, down. Now get the piece of paper again. Click and what we're doing is we're creating a preview. So go ahead and get the biggest piece you can without a bright star. Yeah, you can expand that a little bit. You can get one of those little stars in there. Yeah, go there, and then to the right. Yep, there we go. And then take it right a little bit. You can keep going. Just go right up to that small bright, right there. Okay. Now, back in the color calibration, under the reference image, you can zoom out so you can see what it does. To the right, where it says target image, to the right, there's a little box. Click on that. And then go under view, no view selected, do preview 1. That's going to be your star. Yep.
1. Okay, that's the star.
Hit OK, because this is your white reference, and now we're going to do the background reference. So go down to the bottom where it says target image.
Oh.
And now we're going to do the background. So we're going to tell the system what's a background and what's a white point. Hit OK. And then hit the box or drag the triangle. Okay, and now hit the nuclear button again.
I was going to say this doesn't look good.
There you go.
Okay, now wow.
Yeah, so now it's color calibrated.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And so what you can see is so you really get a lot more out of the data. And what we can see is now the auto stretch is probably overstretched it a little bit. Or we're going to need a little bit more data if we wanted to go this light, just because you can see some of the problem areas with where the green is coming into the sky, but that really bumps the color up. So go ahead and close that out.
Honestly, I had no idea that there was this much in those pictures.
Yeah, this is the beauty of this program and the power of PixInsight.
It's unbelievable.
the next thing we will do is we want to stretch it. So go ahead and go to Process, Histogram Transformation. And so there's another...
Easy order, that was big.
On the screen transfer at the bottom right, the most bottom right icon in the screen transfer box, that one, yep, and that's gonna undo it.
Like it?
Yeah, click that, and then boom, it's gone. Now on the bottom of the histogram transformation, there's a circle. Click the circle, and that's gonna preview what we're doing. Yep, and then you can expand that a little bit if you want. I don't know if it'll actually... Yeah, it will. Okay. So there is a tool called GHS, Generalized Hyperbolic Stretch. Again, the theme continues. I do have a video just dedicated to this. But again, this is an initial, just a quick processing video, your first image. This is processing level 100, right? We're going to go to, we'll go to graduate school next. And so under no view selected, click that. And then drop down and get your image, the auto crop image. There you go. And then actually go up to preview at the very top of the whole page, up by where process is. Yeah, and then hit delete all because we don't need those anymore. At the very bottom.
Delete all?
Yeah, they're just going to delete the previews.
Oh, okay. It was those two little ones that I made for the white and the background.
Yeah. And then take the middle, so where that 45-degree diagonal line in the bottom black screen under histogram information, take that and then drag it to the left a little bit. Keep going, right about there, and hit the square. And so what we're doing is now we're stretching it. So the auto stretch that was on there is the data still in linear mode. In linear mode, what that means is you saw that 45-degree angle line, that's linear. Now it's got a curve or a curve stretch. So now that line is no longer linear, we're taking it from linear mode into a stretched version of it. So go ahead and hit it again. And then we'll probably do it at least once more. And now you're seeing the stars come through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll hit it probably one more on just that one, and then we'll... Okay, now go ahead and drag that middle one to the left a little bit more. And then the bottom square is where it's at currently. The top square is where it's going to be. Yeah, like right there is fine. Go ahead and execute that one. And now hit that bottom right button to zero it out again. So the reason it got really bright, guys, is it automatically that one. It automatically saves what you just did in the settings, and so it's just reapplying it again. And so we want to reset it so it's back to undone. So now this time we're going to take the leftmost arrow. So you've been moving the middle one, take the left one that's in black, move that to the right now. And this is going to adjust the black point. So the left side is the shadows, the right side is the highlights. We've been using the midpoint, and that's really just kind of managing the middle of the light. So yeah, and then you don't want to go that far because you see where it says shadows, see those numbers that are coming up? The numbers in shadows are actually clipping. So that means you are going too far with the dark side, and you are actually killing some of the black pixels, the shadow pixels. So we want to go kind of till we're right on the edge of that. And were we already there? Were you able to move it over at all? Okay, so you were right there. And then take the mid-tone slider and go ahead and move it to the left again. The middle one, yep. And then we might be able... And then we want to, probably right about there. You want to aim for that first quarter. So see on the top one how there's 4 vertical bars? See how you're right at that first one? That's typically where we want to be. And so now we have a stretched image. And honestly, that alone right there would be really good.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is already so far beyond what I expected.
Yeah. So let's go into process curves transformation. And we'll just put some finest curves transformation. And this is going to look similar to the histogram transformation somewhat, but this is going to be more customizable. So hit in the RGBK. So see how there's 4 vertical lines on the grid. Go up where the first vertical line meets the top horizontal line, right there. Pull that up and to the left a little bit. Yep. And now do the opposite on the bottom right. Pull it down. Pull it pull it down. And now hit the preview, the circle preview. Yep. Hit that. And there you go. So that's called a basic S curve. So it looks like an S.
Wow.
So now
blacks are so much better now.
Yeah. So what we did is we basically the right side again is highlights. So we brought that up, and then the left side is shadows. We brought that down a little bit. So we're adding contrast. When you make the highlights higher and the shadows darker, we're adding contrast. So just, to your heart's content, I would say that's pretty good right there.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Because if I go further, I start losing all this good stuff around the edges that I don't want to lose.
And then go ahead and hit the square to execute it, and then we'll reset it again.
Okay.
On the right, just hit the reset. Yep. And then let's do, instead of doing saturation is going to give a global one. We could try that. So do saturation, which is the S all the way on the right-hand side. Yep, that. And just pull from the middle like you did on the last one. Just a slight less is more here. And see how that's just bumping up the color.
Yeah.
Pull it all the way just so you can see the extreme. See, that obviously that's crazy. This is where a lot of people, when you don't have a ton of data, this is where new people can go wrong, is they can go a little crazy with this. Yeah, that's nice and subtle.
I feel like a little tiny bit goes a long way. Otherwise, it starts like blowing it out and looking fake.
Yeah, and the more data you have, the more you can push it. So we don't have a ton of data. So go ahead and hit the square.
Got it.
And then what we'll do is just, this is probably a little bit more advanced, but let's go ahead and reset it. And then go into the R all the way on the left side. So this is the red channel. And now do the same thing. And this is where we can pull it forward and back. So this is where we can add or remove just the red channel.
Got it. And which basically is everything in this image.
Right. And so, put it back to the middle. Go to the green, because there might be a little green. On the color sensor, you have R. You have four.
Should I reset this?
Yeah, reset it. You have four parts to the pixel. You have red, 2 green, and a blue. So there's always, pull the green the other way. There you go. Just subtly. There's usually a little more green than we want sometimes. Yeah, just a tiny bit. I don't even know, because then you're starting to get a little purplish blue. Just a little bit, just to get rid of that in the background. See how we're getting rid of that background kind of greenish tint? Yeah, that's perfect. And go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Go ahead and hit the square. And then I would close that out.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, Dan, but I think that's pretty awesome.
This is freaking amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
That's awesome, man. That is so cool. So, guys, I mean, yeah. Awesome. How do you feel? I mean, I know how I feel, but how do you feel?
I feel over the moon. I don't even know the right word to describe it, because at this point, I have so far exceeded my own expectations of myself, which are normally pretty freaking high.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even I thought this hobby was going to begin and end with a cool picture of a crater on the moon. I'm now taking what I would compare with like the pictures that I've seen spit out by NASA my whole entire life.
With 2 hours of data from New York.
Backyard in 2 weeks, you know what I mean? And I can't begin to say how grateful I am. Because I mean, this realistically should probably be a month or two away still for me.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only here in hours as a result of your help and guidance. So I really appreciate it.
Well, you've done a lot of work on your end. I actually, Dan, I think you've seen every single one of my video and probably every astrophotographer YouTube on YouTube at this point.
I like to learn.
So
I do like to learn.
Before we were going to do a video on the setup, and then Dan sends me a picture. It's all done. The only thing we had to do was move the ASIAIR, but he literally had the entire thing perfectly set up, which was crazy. So
I moved the ASIAIR today.
Yeah, so
Like I said before, impatient New Yorker. I'm sorry.
And then we did a night of imaging. We had you had what, 3 hours of clear skies, and then a monsoon came in. I told him to leave it out. I'm like, just leave it out. It'll be fine. And he's like, yeah, you've been in Arizona too long, buddy. And then a monsoon came in, and you luckily pulled your scope in. But we were able to get a couple hours of data, not even. And this is the result. This is what you can do
It's
if you...
freaking amazing.
That is amazing. So you're going to have to send that to me for the thumbnail for this video.
Consider it done.
This is the beauty of having a community and a group of people to help support each other. We'll continue on this series. This was a very beginner, entry-level type of processing tutorial. Let me know in the comments what you're looking for, what you need help with. I know a lot of you guys might have clicked off if you're a little bit more advanced. And then we're also thinking about doing a live stream where you guys can interact and ask questions live. So please let me know if that's something that you guys would like to see as well. So with that, we'll go ahead and sign out. Dan, thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I'm really pumped on what we're able to get. So guys, clear skies. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.